I'm back. Never thought I'd say this, but I actually look forward to playing more of this game right now. I changed some of my settings, so let's hope chunk loading is less of a pain in the ass, and my experience can be smoother. I wouldn't even mind occasional stuttering if it means load times are better. Yeah, you can burn a lava bucket in lava. How? Alright, why do I need to know that? It seems rather important. Maybe I should allocate more RAM. I should have done that before starting. The game's just started. It's bound to stutter. That's what I'll say as copium. Well, it is getting faster. Coal is definitely not a bad thing to get. One I would appreciate getting in spades at the moment. Well, the light level is 0 there, so. Oh wow, it's almost nighttime. Oh, are you a Fletcher? That means you trade sticks! You trade for sticks, hell yeah! Ron, you can immediately turn my gravel into flint! That's pretty nice. Oh god. That's a terrible house. Whoever lives here, I feel bad for them. Ow! Cactus! Ooh, is this what I think it is? It sure is. Oh, oh, I kind of wasted my time. Oh well, an extra one can't hurt. And a saddle. I can craft those, but it's nice to just find one as well. Ooh, I could go for a camel if I wanted to, but I hear gunshots. I think it's a good time for me to just find respite somewhere now. Immediately.
And if the default blackboard is
I'm watching a video on one of the mods in this mod pack. It got recommended to me, so I figured why not. Although I don't like the idea of getting spoiled. Alright, let's name one of these horses and steal it. Let's see, what do we need for a name tag? Iron, of course. I have bamboo, I'm pretty sure. And string. Getting a lead would be nice. Although I could always just fence it. Alright, a horse is kind of a hard thing to... Apparently I learned I can do this if I shift and right click. With 3 hands, I can carry it. I can carry things. And place them back down. That's hilarious. I can even make totems that way. Of people. Of various peoples. Funniest shit I've ever seen. I guess I just continue exploring for now because I still don't know what to do and I'm still too scared to do anything. I always play like a scaredy cat when it comes to Minecraft. Whether it's in hardcore or not. That's why I have no qualms playing in hardcore. It just means my safer playthrough, my safer way of playing is more understandable and more of a necessity. Rather than just because I'm a natural scaredy cat. Oh my god, there's another village over there. Dude, villages are just everywhere in this seed.
Still keep the tone and the topic light. Mod offers some lantern types, black and white options. Now it includes the copper and crimson lanterns, where the copper lantern appears to be a copper metal lantern, and the crimson lantern appears to be traditional.
Maybe I should just go do some strip mining. Although I'm still not familiar and I don't really feel like looking up generation levels and stuff.
Surface, but by default, they can be edited even after they've already
There's a huge tower right next to this village. What is this? A bounty board. 8 water bottle for a bottle of enchanting, 6 magma cream for... Whoa. Epic bounty. Common bounty. Cool, there's a quest system. A zombie for fire resistance potions, now that would be nice. Rabbit's foot is very rare though. 5 emeralds, I think I can do that. For an ender pearl and the fire resistance potion. How do I...
Instead, you'll get the stiff as a full book
Creek Cleric supplies bountiful.
The flags of a single color can get pretty boring pretty quick. So the mod also...
How do I report?
Standards to copy their pattern on
There you go. I got a potion of fire resistance. That'll be useful when I finally gain access to the Nether. Call it future proofing for the far future. I should probably mark these with the waypoints. I have no idea how to do that though. But you can set your own waypoints, if I'm correct. Here we go.
Mechanically start fires using pistons. Now, when you move a flint block to a piston, so it gives a block of iron, or pretty much any block that is iron like, it will leave an open block, and fire will be produced on the new open block. That fire will ignite and the blocks. It also works reverse. The iron block is a flint block, it will split into sparks. Now, if you want to decorate your build, flower pot for you, may I suggest flower pots? Crafted with a block of dirt with slabs, and it can hold 3 plants.
See if there's anything I can steal from them.
Little for a
Hi, Susana.
and while I use
Do you know Susano?
the tentacles, you're going to be free to make the match to your heart's content.
Is that a pillager outpost on the desert?
Then you praise.
Yikes, they've got some rough neighbors. No wonder this place seems more heavily guarded than the other villages I've visited so far.
Just plop some of these down in your livestock pens, and your animal will self-serve and continue to do so as long as the fodder lasts. Everything will run as if you were
Things are definitely way smoother now.
and that includes breeding cooldowns. One of my favorite building styles is the old open timber wattle and knob style that was so prevalent in Europe until the Industrial Revolution. However, the ability to represent these kinds of buildings is a bit
I
challenging.
don't see anyone hostile and the place is well lit. But then again, the loot isn't all that great. Ooh, string, that's great actually. Oh, I should probably steal these. These are great sources of inventory, and the scaffolding is nice. Carpet block, more string, more redstone. Don't mind if I do.
And the globe pattern is pure see. However, these items are not pure. You can spin the globe, and when you do, it reports your current coordinates. You can also trigger this behavior through a redstone signal. So why not rush out and get one of your own and take it for a spin? The notice board can hold display either a written book, map, or a banner pattern. When it's displaying a written book, it will only show one page at a time. Text resolution that is displayed depends on the amount of text on the page. Add white space or more text, make it render smaller. Once given a redstone pulse, it will turn the page. It can be waxed to prevent interactions. Pedestal blocks can be used as a building block to create some pretty cool looking columns, but the primary purpose is to display items without those items despawning. Now, most items will float over the pedestal and slowly turn,
I
but a
might
few
definitely
items
fall
have
down
special
here.
behaviors. Removing an item from a
Oh, some of the
pedestal will
villagers
generate
are
an observer
visiting the
detectable
place.
update, which makes these a useful trigger for traps. Now, the trigger can be prevented by swapping out the removed item with a sack. Now, where have I seen that before? When an end crystal is placed on a pedestal, it emits the same enchanting glow.
Yeah, that's a pillager outpost.
Could max out their enchantment space by replacing 15 bookshelves.
Uploading seems to be a little
Combine end
wonky.
crystals on pedestals for the ultimate cool wizard decor. On the surface, it would appear that the planter offered by the supplementaries mod is just a larger flower pot. And in fact, you can't plant any kind of flower.
Oh, those are slabs, and apparently I can just do that.
But they won't grow or produce
Ooh,
anything. However, unlike a flower pot, you can plant
a
crops
slime
in
block.
planters, and those crops will grow and can be harvested just as if they've been planted in regular farmland.
Limited inventory really kinda sucks.
They
I don't
require
need
no
the
water,
sand.
and they can't be
A
trampled. Now,
waypoint,
this makes
that's
the planters
certainly
very practical in the
wonderful.
overworld, and especially the Nether, where freestanding water
I
can
don't need the
exist.
dirt, I don't need
For that
anything
special
else.
somebody on your server, the Supplementaries mod offers you a chance to give them a personalized private presents are storage blocks that can hold one stack of an item. Now the sender can address the present to another player, and from that point it can only be opened by the sender or recipient. Presents can be picked up and put in inventory while keeping their contents intact. Likewise, the present can be sent down in the world will exist as a block and not an entity. Now, if you want to give something to somebody you're not particularly fond of, there's always the option of using a trapped present. Now, these look and act similar to regular presents. However, once something's
Alright,
inserted
I know
into
this
the
is
present,
stupid, but I want to
like
confirm
present,
whether or not,
trap
yep.
itself. Now, for the most part, opening a trap present will produce a noise, a puff of smoke, and the contents of the present. However, if the contents
There's
of the
definitely
present
some
can be
loot
activated,
there, but
including an
as
especially
it stands,
block of
it's
TNT,
not
then those
worth
items
the
will
risk
be
for me.
activated upon opening. Just something to remember,
Yikes.
anyone can open a trap present, so your little surprise could blow up in your face. Literally. One of the super
Well,
starters
there seems to be a rock formation here. Let's see if there's any surface iron. It's almost nighttime again. Never mind, this is
And
deep.
you can even fall down a rope. It won't slow you down, but it won't take damage when you reach the bottom.
I thought I was lagging.
Ropes can be anchored to the bottom and sides of blocks, and placement of additional rope blocks work like placing additional scaffolding blocks, except each new rope
You know, note blocks are actually pretty
breaking the
worth
top
it,
rope.
now that I think about it, because if I remember correctly, those require diamonds to
You
craft.
can attach things
Unless I'm
to
thinking of
the
something
rope.
else. Oh no, I think I'm thinking of the jukebox.
You extend
Those
the
require
rope
diamond
and,
blocks for some reason.
lower the object on the end. Now, if you use the rope with a bare hand, you start removing rope blocks and then remove the rope, which then raises the item attached to it. If you have an inner Robin Hood or William Tell waiting to burst out, you can cut ropes using projectile weapons.
Glowstone.
Now, like scaffolding,
Maybe I should go
range horizontally
trade some
from
sticks.
and also, like scaffolding, you can only go so far without additional support for the rope.
Kill a spider and 2 zombies, kill a creeper and give.
But you'll be injured a bit. Rope can be crafted with an arrow to produce a rope arrow, which will drop up to 32 blocks of rope from wherever it lands.
In the Fletcher here. Yeah, let's go trade some.
Rope can also be used as a kind of fuse to transfer flame as well. Kids, don't try this at home.
Yeah, the few occasional stuttering is definitely way more tolerable. BB. Where's the Fletcher? Hello, Wilbert.
Sacks are essentially
Ooh,
early
the
game
fisherman
poker
trades
boxes,
coal.
but you're able to grow your own
Why not?
sacks. They're incredibly cheap. Unfortunately, they will have a very
I'll trade a few.
try to break the
I
time.
do kind of have an abundance of coal at this point. Whoa, what the heck's up with the water there?
It'll take a short while for the effect to wear off.
So murky.
While the
Reminds me of
automatically generates
a place in the
signs
Philippines
that
where the
guide
water's
players
super
to
black.
the world, you can craft your own sign
Not to be
posts.
racist.
Now these are special signs
Bam.
that point in your direction.
I'm just
And
gonna kill you.
them
Doesn't
can
seem like you
place
belong
on
to anyone.
most to play stick. Their exact orientation will depend on where the player is facing the sign is placed. Now, a placed sign will always point to the left, but can be reversed with a shift click. Clicking on one of these signs with a compass will make
I
it
think I'm
point to
thinking of
whatever the compass
another
is currently
village.
pointing at. And finally, they support all dies and inks, just like vanilla signs. Most blocks that can be colored or coated with something can be washed clean with soap. Now, this can be done in a crafting grid, or it can be done in a
Should
game
probably go back to them.
Soap can be used in this way to also clean
But,
blackboards,
damn.
antique globes, maps,
They're really far.
and tip spikes. It also leaves a fresh and clean scent.
I call this place Desert
If you
Tower
throw
Cake.
soap into a crafting
It has a
grid,
bounty
you
board,
create a
which is
soap
nice.
block, which you can then placed next to a wet sponge, and when you blow air through the wet sponge, bellows will produce a steady stream.
I should go back home and store all these.
On the summer's day.
I don't really need a crafting table. Where's my boat?
Shape and 1 block tall. They can be handed items that they will then display, and redstone current is applied, the statue will actively wave. If storage space is tight, you can save a bit of space by converting your stacks of sugar into sugar.
So teleporting should have a cost. Unless I can teleport for free as long as there's a waystone activated. I'll try, but for now I wanna get some emeralds from the Fletchers in this area. Hello, I am looking for your Fletcher.
Or by compressing it, either by moving it or stepping on it. When activated via redstone, the force of the air move will.
I know I may seem to have psychopathic tendencies, but I'm a nice guy who just wants to who just wants to do a capitalist thing and buy low and sell high.
It also refreshes fire blocks in front of it, which keeps those flames burning as long as the bellows keeps working. And when the bellows is blowing directly on a copper block,
There's my boat. I never.
process as well. The clock block is a simple, elegant, and incredibly useful in-game clock.
Oh,
It
where's the
visually shows
Fletcher?
game world time, and it can be
Dana
used to
Sophie.
judge
I was gonna say, are they lovers or something? But they're both.
that is
They
proportional
both
to
have
the
feminine names. I mean,
just after sunrise
they could be gay.
before sunrise. This makes it a more reliable redstone.
Are you the Fletcher?
for detecting
You are.
time, as daylight sensors can be cooled when it's
I
raining.
wish to trade for emeralds.
Block produces an update every
You
15
are
hours
welcome.
on that hour, and that
Alright,
update detected
now let's see if I can.
observer. Plus, you can just plain old click on it, and it'll give you the exact time as a status message. The cog block is essentially the same as redstone dust, but in a block form. Therefore, it can convey a redstone.
I
signal
can.
up to
It
40
says
blocks
temporary.
away.
What does that mean?
However, what it
Unknown or
specifically
incomplete.
means is a simple
TP.
way to transmit a redstone signal straight up, and that makes it worth the price
Yeah,
of
the
admission
fuck.
all by itself. The crank acts as an analog lever.
How do I open
Shift-click
chat?
or shift click will advance or reverse. The crank 1 notch, which will increase or reduce the redstone signal
P?
level.
That's
When
weird.
connected to a redstone signal,
I always use enter for some reason. I've gotten very used to it. And slash for command, open command, because, you know, every command starts with slash.
The signal strength of 10 will show up as a 0. A signal stronger than 10 will produce a symbol. No
Maybe it's
signal
because I
at
have
all will
cheats
logically
off or
show
something.
an indication of the
If
display.
waystones require cheats to do and all they do is function as a convenient use of TP, then what the fuck's the point? Whatever. I can't run anymore.
And then there is the dispenser minecart, which is a dispenser mounted on a minecart. And it works pretty much like the faucet is a powerful block.
I'm out of melons. I need to start making a more. I should really make my own base by now, rather than continue doing what I'm doing. It's just my current priority right now is just getting armor and just getting to iron, and then I can start thinking about becoming less nomadic.
Next to water, such as a sponge, concrete powder, or the sugar cube.
Button.
Then turning the faucet on will affect the block just as if it touched water. Some with faucets is not limited to just fluids either. When attached to an inventory, turning on the faucet will start emptying the inventory at the rate of 1 item per second. If you're concerned about time,
I know, I'm very creative. I'm like, look me, zero over here.
The hourglass is empty, but you can insert a number of different materials and liquids into it, and each material has its own fall rate, which means that the hourglass can be used to measure different lengths of time depending on what.
I don't know why. The mod doesn't seem to like my resolution.
Just right click on it, and then you're free to insert a new material. Hourglass is
Mod menu.
comparators, the hourglass can be reset using the turntable block. So the hourglass can be very useful for using timing circuits and devices. For every season, turn. And that's just what the turntable block does. When activated with a redstone signal, it will turn the block its
Yeah, this is so much nicer.
different block can be in different ways and on different axes. As I mentioned a few seconds ago, the turntable block can be used to turn the hourglass. However, it can also be used to turn other blocks, especially on the horizontal axis. The turntable block is an excellent companion to the pulley block, which can be used to extend or retract a rope or rope-like object, such as a chain.
I forgot about that guy.
Itself,
still very creepy. What the?
Extended or retracted, the necessary segments taken from.
Ooh, rattlesnakes!
If you like to control your life,
okay, they don't seem hostile. Okay, look at that.
It gives off a variable amount of light based on the strength of the redstone.
You know, I think I want to turn off
The
mobs.
catch is that the stronger the redstone signal,
The mob radar for both the actual map and the minimap. I'm keeping the minimap on. I downloaded the mod. It seems only vanilla mobs are being tracked, and that's kind of lame. I may as well just not track anything. That's the case.
It won't work on blocks, but when activated, it will launch entities a considerable height and distance. If an entity happens to fall or land on the launcher while it's already extended, there will be an impressive trampoline action. But you need to get the timing right or something far less impressive will happen. You may have seen a weather or a wind vane on top of an older building or even in a movie or show. You put one in your Minecraft world. Normally, they show which direction the wind is blowing and roughly how strong the wind is. But in Minecraft, they actually generate a redstone signal based on the weather. Clear weather produces no signal, while rain will send out a signal of 1 and a thunderstorm will send out a signal of 2.
Interesting.
When the altimeter is in your hand,
I actually stopped paying attention to the video a while ago.
It's not super useful if you're running a map mod, but for those who use those mods, this could be a very useful device. Antique ink is a rare item that can be found in urns and caves or is
By the way, what is this thing? An organic Yep, it's exactly what I thought it was. It's a pile of poop.
And when it's applied to a globe, it transforms it into a multi
straight up just a pile of poop.
Applied to a map, it produces an antique treasure map appearance.
Oh, there's more elephants here than when I last saw. This isn't my house. Where's my house? There it is.
You can make bombs. Bombs are throwable objects that act a bit like a hand grenade.
Hey, yo.
Blocks, but it does wreak havoc on enemies and blocks that can be broken by water, such as grass and flowers. Now, blue bombs are just like regular bombs, but they have a slight pause before exploding, and they deal significant damage over a much greater area. They can only be bought from a merchant and possibly found as chests. As you can see here, they can be useful for harvesting livestock and mowing the yard. If you enjoy blowing bubbles on a summer's day and you know if you're shooting Minecraft, the Supplementaries mod has something special just as cool using the floor. Runs out of soap, just add more. If you want to release your inner musician, you can craft a flute thanks to the Supplementaries mod. The primary purpose of the flute is
Ooh, something I can do, I suppose, is make a bow, but...
bind the flute to a specific pet, and then the flute's played again.
Hey, now, come on. Don't be like that.
You can also play the flute just for the hell of it. There are a number of songs available in the game, randomly choose one. If you have a specific favorite, you can name the flute to the name of the song, and the flute will only play that song. And you have to provide the song doing it for you. There's a mechanic for recording additional songs. The details are on the mod's wiki.
A sawmill? What? Is that actually functional?
One of the top hits
Ooh,
is the
they added more
is
building
quiver.
blocks.
Mechanic
Ooh, there's
craft.
drawers. I wonder if they're also functional.
The most likely source of quivers will be skeletons. Mind you that the same skeletons will be carrying and using the quivers, so there's
Stack
no
books,
risk
nice.
versus reward.
Upgrade base,
The quiver
what?
has its own inventory supplies, storing a full stack of arrows in each slide.
Ooh, I can make a...
Quiver by dragging the stack to the quiver in the inventory and right-clicking. It will be dropped into the first available slide.
Timewood
If
chest.
there's an existing partial stack of the same kind of arrow already 2 arrows will be added to the existing stack. By default, arrows will pull out of
Okay, I
the
think
first
it's just
stack
asking
and pull
for
out until
any
it's
chest.
exhausted, and then you can start annually, and so on until all the arrows have been exhausted. You can choose which stack is the active stack by placing the quiver in the hotbar, using it, and then using the mouse wheel to select the desired stack. A novel new item is the same. You might think you know what this does, and you would probably be wrong. You can't run around and terrorize all the critters in the area. Slingshot is a tool, not a weapon. With the slingshot in hand, you can launch blocks, and they will plop themselves down wherever they land. When a slingshot has been enchanted with the stasis enchantment, the shot will no longer arc, but fly in a straight line instead. You will see an outline of where the fired block will land. Be warned that most shots will only connect on the side facing you, so trying to get a block to stick from very shallow angles will probably fail. Using a wrench on a block will rotate the block.
Ooh, enchanted iron sword.
Cartographers can now sell adventurer maps. These maps will lead you to a given structure, but you
11.
don't know the kind of structure until you open the map. Kind of a grab map. Adventure maps lead to desert pyramids, igloos, jungle temples, mine shafts, ocean ruins, villager outposts, war portals, shipwrecks, and villages. In the nether, they lead the bastions, and in the end, they guide the way to end cities. Each destination has its own icon. Buying multiple adventure maps from the same cartographer will simply get you additional copies of the same map. You don't have to be a 15th century French humpback to ring bells that are normally too high to reach. Now you can attach ropes or chains to the bell and ring the bell by tugging on the rope or chain. Normally, banners must be hung on walls. Now you can hang them from the bottom of blocks. For example, ceilings.
Hello there, I didn't know I could do that.
Cakes or flat flooring, think again. That can all be fancy and layered. Just add a second cake to the first, and you're good to go. Cake slices come off the top layer first. Gunpowder can be placed in exactly the same manner as redstone does.
The map should allow me to see slime chunks as well, but slime chunks only matter if I can safely funnel to the super deep levels, so slime farming is still just a pipe dream and there's no swamps anywhere
If you play Minecraft as
far as I'm aware, but look at this biome.
Just sit down a bunch of gravel
Dark
and
and
break out your own.
scary.
You can rake the gravel in the direction you are facing.
Volcano, volcanic plains. Wow.
In vanilla
Why is it
Minecraft,
so
landers
big?
can sit on top of or hang from the bottom of something. But with the supplementaries mod, they can now be mounted directly on walls with no further hardware necessary. It works on most
Wasteland.
languages as well. And that wraps it up for the supplementaries mod, at least for this video. There's still plenty more that I didn't touch upon, but I hope you got a pretty good impression of the mod all the same, and I hope that you'll try it in your own games. So until next time, I hope this finds you and yours in good health, good spirits, and perhaps a touch of good fortune. Cheers.
I'm gonna head north. And right now what I really want are some cows for leather. I could also potentially get leather from other sources, but I'm too scared to try attacking any other mob. If the developers of the More Animals mod is similar to Mojang, potentially they discourage killing of mobs as well. Thought I disabled. Oh, that's annoying. There has to be a way to disable it. There's probably a way to turn it off, but right now I can't be bothered to learn it. So I'll just deal with the mobs. I wonder what that's used for. Nothing right now. Maybe I need a crafting table. Cool, I got snake skin. Ah, right, I remember this place now. It can't hurt to take a good look at that. Oh, is that a ship? That's a shipwreck. Ride salt, yikes. Whoa. That is not a shipwreck. Ah! Ooh! Eh! A pufferfish! I bumped into a pufferfish. Ow! That scared me. Oh. Ooh. Mimic octopus. A beach fletcher. You guys are sailing travelers. That's nice. I'm gonna steal your stuff. Ooh, a fishing rod with lure. Alright, Flesh, you're doing a very, very one-sided business with you folks. Is that a floating island? What the fuck? There's just a floating island. Whoa, fire protection pants? Sure. Rope? Didn't know that was a thing. Can't trade. Yeah, sorry about your supplies, but I'm taking them. I really have a bad feeling about that place, but... Whoa. Look at this place. Yeah, this... not good. Whatever this large grand scale looking thing is, it's not very friendly. Seems I'm loading a lot of meat chunks all at once. You know, let me just put it at straight up 5. I'm playing in 30 FPS anyway, and I'm quite happy with that. There's a villager. Sunken City. Oh yeah, I meant to look at the advancements.
There's every difference between old and new Minecraft. Before the Minecraft pigs were added officially, they originally had a different face texture.
Wow,
The only
okay.
change being that their eyes were flipped so that they weren't as derpy as they are now. And while I get that this makes more logical sense, it also just seems way too professional for the pigs. Like, this is how I would expect a Minecraft pig to look if you were selling me door-to-door solar panels. I'm a lot more of a fan of the ones that we got in the
I
game.
could go for an
Just
all
great for
advancements
transportation,
playthrough,
but obviously not much when it comes
rather
to
than
protection.
just beating
Ever
the
since
end.
1.19.4, that's
That
a
would
little bit more
require
easy
me
to
to
bear
do
with.
way
Now,
more.
you can swap the equipped gear that you have in
You know,
your hotbar
experience
just by
the
right-clicking
entire
with your hand. So in an
mods.
instant, you can switch from your traveling elytra into your battle chest plate and be a lot better equipped for any bad guys that come your way. And then, if you're not ready for the fight, switch right back
There's
to
a
the
lot to
elytra,
do.
go for your rockets, and get out of there. Definitely got a lot of options now you can tackle this. Minecraft X's are annoying, but now they're a little less annoying, at least on the eyes. And that's because in 1.19.3, Vexes had their models changed to look more like a legs, which not only means that we don't have to look at this eyesore anymore, but it also makes more logical sense. And now it seems like the pillagers are trapping these allays so that the evokers can turn them into deadly Vexes, which is a lot more impressive of a spell than just turning a blue sheep red. I guess they gotta work from the magic somewhere. And sheep's wool is the only color that's changing. Now, potion colors have changed to be a lot more distinct since 1.19.4, and I said these match up better to the particle effects which one of these is which, but it's also hard to call this any kind of colorblind support. And so while this change is great, if we were to get something more akin to this kind of texture resource pack that we showed off in the past, I think that'd be an even better step going forward. Alright, pop quiz, let's play a game. I'll play you a sound effect and you guess which block it is. Alright, if you guess stone, I can't blame you, because it really is, but that's actually the sound that bone blocks used to make before they eventually got their own sound effect in 1.16. I guess with the changes to Soul Sand Valleys, they decided they needed to make these a little bit more unique. And frankly, I'm glad they did. It's no secret that lava's the water of the nether. Or I guess with glitches, water's the water of the nether, but at least the intended way, lava flows about the same speed that water does in the overworld. But it's only recently that lava's been changed to push entities when it's flowing, and that's allowed for much better nether farms that we can see here. In the past, a blaze farm would have to look like this,
Okay.
with a bunch of pressure plates and pistons. Now you just add in some lava, it's a lot cleaner, and it makes more visual sense too. Minecraft 1.14 wasn't just the texture update, but it was also apparently the abbreviation update. Since what used to be called rose red, dandelion yellow, and cactus green dye were just changed to red, yellow, and green dye for consistency with the other dye colors.
Oh my
Which I guess
god,
makes
what
sense.
is
There are different
happening?
ways to get the other dyes. You can't exactly name it after one thing. Not to mention they're not even called roses anymore. They're called copies, so I can see why the change was made. Prior to 1.15, it was possible to break iron doors without a pickaxe. It was just going to take a while. Right now, if you were to do this, you're just going to have wasted your time and not even get an iron door. And both of those seem like a slap in the face. Minecraft jukeboxes have always been a redstone item, but they've never always played well with redstone. And up until recently, it was completely impossible to use things like dispensers to put music discs in and hoppers to take music disc out. But as of 1.19.4, finally this implementation is added to our jukeboxes, letting us loop the music over and over again, or until you get copyright striked. Yeah, sorry about that one. It's a Minecraft feature that used to exist, got broken for many years, and then now has been fixed again. Since the early days of Minecraft, it was made so that when you took damage, your camera would tilt in the direction that the damage came from. But strangely enough, this was broken when land was added into the game. Xbox goes into way better detail about the sliding code than I ever could. What's interesting is that in recent updates, it's actually been fixed again.
What's going on with my turning speed?
It practically feels like a new feature. Sure, a lot of players felt like it. Getting flipping feathers for arrows already feels expensive to craft, but it could have been so much worse. Since in the past, in Alpha 1.0, you would actually use iron ingots to craft arrows instead of flint, which makes more sense for why these arrow textures have a white tip. But until you get a good iron farm, that would have been just way too costly. They for Fletchers, I guess. And arrows haven't just gotten cheaper, they've also gotten slower. Since back in beta 1.8, it was possible that if you held down the right click
definitely not friendly.
you could actually spam fire out arrows like this. Which I'm not gonna lie, that is pretty satisfying, but I can definitely see why this changed. And it's funny to think that crossbows were the one that got the quick charge enchantment, but it seems like our bows were quick charging just fine on their own before the enchantment was added. Prior to 1.9, it was possible to kill the Ender Dragon using only snowballs. It was just gonna take a while. And in fairness, you could still kill the Ender Dragon using snowballs, you just also need to place down end crystals to damage it with the explosions. And given that those same end crystals are going to heal the dragon, you really have to be precise about how you do this. I think if you want to give this a shot at killing it with snowballs, just go back to 1.8. Horses have gone through a lot of different looks in Minecraft. There's the original horse textures that we got back in
rain might be a problem.
For the 2.0 update, but that was just retextured cows and pigs. And then in 1.6 we got actual horses, but then their models changed again back in 1.13. And as they are now, I think they look a lot more fitting in Minecraft. With the World of Color update in 1.12, a lot of our diet items changed color, and they weren't the only ones to do it, since the shulker boxes also got a whole new set of colors. And personally, I kind of like how some of the original colors look for the shulker boxes, but it's hard to say that the new ones aren't more true to the actual dye colors, so I get why the change was made. Prior to 1.11, as you wore down the durability on one of your tools, not only would its health bar decrease, but the colors of that health bar would get less and less vibrant as it went along, which honestly, I think you gotta pick one or the other. And Mojang seemed to agree, since now the durability colors stay vibrant all the way through, from a fresh diamond pickaxe to a broken tragedy. When food gets hit in Minecraft, they turn red. That's something that's been consistent all the way through. But prior to 1.8, if you wore armor as well, then that armor would also take that red shader on top of it. But nowadays, it doesn't nearly hurt as bad, and we're the only ones who have to suffer from a punch. Before 1.9, it was possible to get Bedrock to drop itself as an item. You just have to be very precise about how you broke it. So now if your friend claims that they got Bedrock legitimately, yeah, you can raise some suspicion. It's literally not even a loot table for the block anymore, so sorry to burst their bubble. Totems of Undying are an invaluable item to have, but apparently a good thing
sleep anywhere.
Since as of 1.16.2, these idols now give off 40 seconds of fire resistance
Except
as well.
here.
So if you have to use one, at least pulls out all the stops for you. Gilded Blackstone stands as one of the rarest blocks to find in Minecraft. But if you're really looking for this block for your builds, then the recent versions might have you covered. In current generations of Bastion remnants, you're even more likely to find the block hiding in a Bastion chest. So look out for those if you want to strike gold. 10 years ago, stairs used to be so much more annoying, since if you even went up them a little, it would force you to walk all the way up the stair. And it seems like Mojang noticed how annoying this was, because that was quickly changed. Though not until the update 1.5. So if you're playing a version before that, I'm deeply sorry. Back in 2012, we didn't have horses or elytras, so that meant that running was the best way to get around. But even then, it wasn't a perfect system. Because back then, we had to double tap the walk key
Oh
to
my
actually
god,
sprint,
why are there so
and
many
we
people
had
here?
that sprint button until that was added in the game in 1.7.2. Sometimes, the different item names you lose track of. And it seems that even Mojang knows this. That's why, as the Nether update, the clay block and the clay item that you get breaking it now have a distinction. Since then, these have been called clay balls, which is probably what you call them anyway, so the change makes sense. I'm gonna go out on a limb and guess that the clock isn't one of your most used items. I mean, it's costly, it only works in one dimension, and it just gets annoying to take the time to check. It even seems like Mojang didn't want to look at this item, given how its texture is unchanged, even the so-called texture update of 1.14. But now its shading and colors have been brought up to speed, and I gotta say, it's looking a lot nicer to boot. The crafting recipe book is a great resource to have, but while it's useful here, it hasn't always been the best implemented. And you can see if you had potion effects, since it was usually hidden behind. But now we see these effects along the right side of the screen, and we can even hover over them to see the time remaining. Minecraft's credits are historically a weird sight to see. Going on for a total of 27 minutes and 15 seconds, it's hard to even sit through the thing. I can't even say I'm trying to read the first line. I always just skip it and move on. But if you want to give it a go, the new update makes it a bit easier. Now, by holding down the space bar, you can speed up the playback at the end poem. Steve and Alex have pretty basic animations, to say the least. But that's not to discount the subtle ones that Mojang has added in. As we'll see, there are now several hand animations for things like placing a boat, feeding pandas, and breeding animals. Which I think is worth noticing just to give props for the subtle changes, because otherwise they're going to appreciate it. Privacy is a hot topic these days, and for some players it's the most important thing, so to abide by that, Mojang's got you covered. See this option labeled Allow Server Listings? Well, toggle that, now you won't show up in someone else's server, and that'll let you into the game without being stolen by your adoring fans. Sure, the Anvil is a great item, but it's definitely got its share of limitations. And while most of us are familiar with the too expensive limit on level costs, there also exists a character limit for item names. Though the problem started to be that some items that were added in already had too long of a name, such as the new waxed, lightly weathered cut copper stairs of 41 characters. So to avoid that hassle, the limit has now been changed from 35 characters right up to 50. To the right person, texture inconsistencies can be very frustrating, because after you notice it, it's going to be tough to unsee. And while Dumbledore originally fell in this category, you can rest easy with the new 1.17 update. Here, the items according to the door texture finally line up again. You will just have to find some other texture to complain about. Do you remember when desert pyramids used to look like this? Well, sure enough, when they were added in, these desert pyramids are generated with more of the colorful bits instead of the orange and blue terracotta that we're used to. And the reason being is that block wasn't in the game. It took until 1.8 that we finally got it switched to harder to play, and then that was later renamed to the terracotta we're used to. Nowadays, the creepers are much stronger than they used to be, since back in the early days, a creeper's explosion would always be 43 points of damage at the strongest. But after some time, Mojang would change that to be 64 points of damage that we know today, which, yes, does make the creeper stronger than the warden, which is crazy to think about. The Acid Ender used to be a big waste of time, since they wouldn't always lead you to the closest stronghold, and what that would mean is that sometimes it might be pointing you to one you're nowhere near to, even if you're standing right above the closest one. And why did this bug happen? I'm not exactly sure, but it did get fixed in 1.6.1, so thankfully we don't have to worry about it anymore. Clearly, Minecraft is a great game, which is why it's always nice to see more accessibility options added in. So, for one example, if you don't want to be left out of the text conversation, the 1.12 has it covered. Simply hit Control-B, and Napchat will be narrated for easy listening. Simple as that. When you look through the changes in an update, a lot of it reads as cleanup, which makes sense since it'd be tough to do everything in one go. So even though we got our big texture update back in 1.14, it's still taken until now for the Wither's skull texture to reflect those changes. But hey, now on, it's fixed. The replace item command can be a lot of fun to play around with. Whether that's giving yourself an end rod unicorn or putting a command block on a zombie's head. There are a lot of silly applications here. Though as fun as it is, the replace item command no longer exists in 1.17. And while that's technically true, it's just been replaced with the other command, /item replace. And honestly, I'm not sure why it changed, but it's worth a heads up. Along with the changes to the Nether, Soul Sand also got a much cooler, more laid-back puzzle. Whether you're using it for a basalt generator or soul campfires, Soul Soul just generally seems like less of a burden. But the question is, can it spawn withers? And as you can see, it works just the same, making this an even better replacement for the sand of the past. If you played Minecraft back in the day, then you know that these boats would break all the time. Well, part of that was by design. Since in 2012, you could only exit a boat or minecart if you broke the vehicle. And without the ability to left shift to dismount, that means that we could cause certain situations where you softlock yourself in that boat completely unable to get out, which is definitely the saddest way to lose your hardcore world. That's just brutal. Brightness plays a critical role in the game's atmosphere, which is why it's always struck me as weird that the developers set the slider by default to the lowest setting of booty. It's like when you subscribe to a channel for notifications on all uploads, then YouTube still...
An endless lifespan is just...
Getting a car would be great. Five should do for now. Oh, this thing's almost dead anyway. The tip could be misleading. Might make people think you can stab. But there's other ways of swinging the sword rather than just the hook. The signpost is referring to the village, which is indeed around 200 blocks. I have enough leather. I don't know why this happens. guess I'll go store my stuff first. I don't really know what the rope's going to be useful for. Nice. Nice. How do I put things in it? How do I use this thing? I don't actually know how to use it. What? Well, this is a problem. works? Somebody tell me. Okay, well, apparently I can place it on the ground. What the heck? Well then, I suppose for now it's a glorified early game shulker box. I do believe it has the ability to automatically put stuff if your inventory's already full. I think I have no choice but to strip mine if I want iron safely. I don't really know what else I can do. I can try to keep exploring, but it'll be in vain. I doubt anything fruitful will come. I had a saddle, didn't I? Where is it? I'm gonna try taming a horse. Ah, there it is. All I can really do is fence it up. This much should suffice. Alright, with the sleeping bag and more inventory, I should be able to explore and enjoy my nomadic life just a little longer now. That's what I'm gonna do. What the? Do you drop anything I can eat? Now I just feel bad. I need more cobble. Stack should be just dandy. May as well strip mine and see how that will go for me. Well, I think I know now what's causing all this lag. I think it's autosave. It has to be autosave. I think it happens every 24 minutes.
Maybe I should just disable auto-saving. What use is it anyway in a hardcore world? Whoa. There's a mine shaft. Oh. Alright, I'll stop here. I don't want to deal with gravel. Or do I? Yeah, a mini-map while caving definitely seems like actual cheating. Strider. Since I'm committing to the nomadic lifestyle right now anyway, I suppose it doesn't really matter whether I can keep my horse. As long as I make sure if I am dismounting, it won't be for long. house here. You can bet your ass I'm gonna murder them. Some more of these weird guys. They're harmless enough, they don't try to attack me. At least as long as I don't provoke them. My goal right now is this nether thingy. And I have a stack of wood, oak. Ooh! Saw something really interesting. Yeah. What the hell is this? I want to try smelting copper. See if there's anything I can craft that's useful with them. I just realized taking a sugar with me would definitely be nice. Making another backpack doesn't seem like a bad idea to me. Maybe I should go back for now. Take some stuff with me, specifically some string. Ow! Heck were those. I suppose it's understandable that Minecraft lags every time it saves because there is a lot to save. Is that a Tordos? Huh. Well, I do want some string. What the hell? Fight me! Go back, then I'm gonna turn off the waypoints and I'm never looking back. Obviously, I won't delete them, but I'll just turn them off so they won't be annoying. Oh, what the heck? I've never seen this in this place before. Was this always here? Okay. I didn't know. Whoa, excuse me? I'll take anything that's valuable. In my eyes. Potatoes are definitely valuable. I'll take some watermelon with me. Definitely need a bigger bag. Well, this is all I can take for now. Everything here is relatively pretty important. in my eyes. Back to traveling. With any luck, I'll come across some more cows to murder. Yeah, the backpack is nice. Something, a playstyle that's definitely not encouraged or all that great to do is being a nomad. Don't stay in one place for too long. I mean, you can definitely do it, but it definitely won't be an easy way to play Minecraft, nor will it be very fun. You're definitely encouraged to make a home and try to thrive there as much as possible. Obviously, you get a lot out of exploring, but unless you have a house, you're gonna be hard pressed to find stability. Nor will progression be easy. Yeah, Minecraft really needs an inventory upgrade. An inventory overhaul, even. That's a spawner. Alright. A potential farm for XP and other stuff. A little lava. I'll have to refrain. I need leather above all else right now. Ooh, chickens. They can give eggs, that'd be great, but since I'm going to a plains biome anyway, where there'll be abundant animals and stuff, normally I'd try to stay away as far as possible from those, but I have a fire resistance potion. It would objectively be a waste if that were to happen, but at least if I make a mistake, the consequences aren't terminal. Old growth woodland. Looks dangerous. Rhinos will definitely try. Anything that has a horn, I'm gonna assume it will be hostile if I provoke them. Not to mention, everyone I've seen that has a horn are pretty tough looking. Whoops, 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 whoops. Game saving again. Opening the map doesn't pause the game. Look, that pig is moving.
This is every Minecraft hack that feels like cheating. And hey, according to YouTube, no one's ever subscribed to the channel with the back of their finger. So if you're up to the challenge, whack the back of your index finger on that sub button below. It's free and it ups out of time. On the surface, sand doesn't seem that important. I mean, it's irritating, it's coarse, and it gets everywhere. But ask anyone in the technical community, then sand gets pretty important. Most importantly, it's not renewable. And for how much sand we can start to need for big projects, and more importantly, other gravity blocks like concrete powder, then that's why we start to see duplication machines like this one, where we literally break the frames around the end portal just to get more of the stuff. But like most duplication in Minecraft, since there's no other way to farm this, that's where a lot of players start to see this as a gray area. And it seems like Mojang agrees, considering they haven't patched it out. And speaking of duplicators that Mojang's okay with, duplicating TNT in Minecraft is a glitch. There's no two ways to look at it. But considering the fact that there's no actual way to move TNT on top of flying machines, considering that in Java you can't move a dispenser, it's a container block, that's actually why Mojang is considered to leave this in for so long. Are they happy about it? Not really, but for some reason it's not in the cards to get movable tile entities in Java. And while I can't say that I understand that one, I can't understand why some people would feel like this is cheating, because there isn't one block of TNT that you crafted to get enough to blow up the entire world. That doesn't seem fair, but it is necessary in a lot of farms. With the help of the nether and a shield, we're able to give ourselves complete invincibility, at least as long as you don't eat food. Since the way this works, that if you up your shield and walk through the nether portal, then when you come into the next dimension, though visually we're not holding up our shield anymore, the game still treats it like we are. And so, as long as we don't use any other things than the interact button, we're able to sprint and completely block all attacks that are coming towards us. Which could be helpful if you're not ready to tackle the nether just yet. The price of an iron ingot and 5 planks, it gets a lot less scary to deal with those big ones. It's possible to get all the illegal items that you only ever see in creative admin commands entirely in your survival world. The way we do this is actually through an April Fool's update. Since back in the one block at a time snapshot that Mojang did for April Fools, the Enderman could spawn only illegal items. And while most of us would have just tried out that snapshot in a world that wasn't important, you are able to update that world like any other snapshot. Meaning that you can then have this Enderman that's holding a structure block. Kill it, get it to drop its item, and now you've got something that you shouldn't even be able to have in the base game. And honestly, it's probably something that most players who are visiting your world wouldn't even recognize. That's how rare it is. But it also means you like this terrible snapshot, so I guess you did have to work for it.
I don't see the point of putting backpacks on your back.
In fact, they're actually able to break the logic of the game. See, if you were to take a cauldron and put it underwater, then you can fill it up with a lava bucket, and visually you'll have lava underwater. Literally at the bottom of the ocean. But that's not the strangest part, since if you were to actually step inside of the lava, then sure enough, even though the rest of us is encased in water, we're still able to burn to death at the bottom of that cauldron. And at that point, that's just embarrassing. It's kind of like stubbing your toe on a pillow. Probably technically possible, but everyone's gonna laugh at you if it happens. With the help of this machine, I'll never run out of items around. And the reason for this has something to do with the concept called item shadowing, which, to grossly oversimplify, because I don't even frankly understand it all, the way that this works is that we're using some amount of update suppression with all these rails that trick the game to think that this item slot in this chest corresponds with the item slot that we're holding. And just like this, we'll never run out of rockets when we're exploring our world. At least that's how Doc M used it on Hermitcraft, and I feel like that's a pretty practical application. But considering that update suppression's been patched out in the past, I think it's pretty obvious that Mojang's stance on this is that it's cheating, so more of a use it before you lose it kind of thing. Enchanting in Minecraft is not random. Now, all the steps that you have to do to manipulate it are going to feel pretty random. See, it's possible to use third-party software like we can see here to then figure out the exact enchantment seed of your world. Just like your world has a seed to generate off of, it also has a seed for how your enchantments are going to load. And once we crack that code, we can set it up where if you just throw out a couple of blocks like this, you get the exact enchantments that you want when using the enchanting table. And no matter how cool this is, I am going to go out on a limb and say that if you're using third-party software to crack your game, that's probably not going to be allowed on most servers. But it's completely possible, and it's not patched out, so
And I
take
hate
that as the
myself for
hall
doing
pass,
this.
if you will. As you can see, I'm not on this boat, but even though that's easy to see, that's also not true, at least according to the server.
Oh my
See,
god!
when you stand on top of a boat like this, then right-click it really fast, then it's possible to desync from the actual server and have it think that you're still inside of the boat, while we're still able to walk around on our client. Why would you do this? Well, the interesting thing is that everything that we do while we're outside of the boat on our end is still going to be processed, even though we're inside of the boat on the server. So anything that we do while we're technically outside of the boat is eventually going to update to the server, which means you build up a tall tower, jump off of it, take no fall damage, and then when we need to, hit shift and teleport right back to the boat like we were supposed to, which is definitely weird, but it's also a really cool magic trick. So impress your friends if you can with this one. While playing version 1.8.9,
Bison
if you were to
fur.
look at an anvil sideways
Oh,
like
that
this,
was a
because of
bison.
a glitch, that actually changes
Oof, I
all
feel
other
bad
anvils
now.
in the world's collision boxes. So if we look at this sideways anvil and then walk backwards into a wall of anvils, we'll phase through as if there was no collision box whatsoever. And while I love how goofy this trick is to pull off, I also like imagining how goofy it must have been to discover this. And I would have loved to imagine how surprised someone was when they built a weird wall of anvils, only for it to get even weirder. Here's how to put more than 64 items into a stack. Or really, I should say 64 glass bottles. Since, as Raceworks points out, the way that this happens is by using a brewing stand like this. And then, when you put 64 glass bottles in each of the 3 slots in the brewing stand, if you click them in order 1, 2, 3, you don't just be holding 64 glass bottles in your hand, but rather, the second stack will bring you up to 127, and the third stack will bring you up to 190. But as cool as this is, it's also not anything permanent. Since if you were to try to put 190 glass bottles into one of the slots in your inventory from here, it'll just deposit 64 glass bottles at a time. But you can throw it outside of the UI menu, and it'll drop 190 on the floor, for whatever that's worth. Maybe you just want to take all the bottles of milk off the wall. I don't know. As Weefish demonstrates in this video, if you were to place blocks the exact right height while you're falling, then you can actually trick the game into not registering any fall damage when you land. Now, the reason that this happens is that the game thinks that we're stepping onto the blocks instead of just falling onto them. And you wouldn't take fall damage if you were just stepping onto any regular block down here in the overworld, so nothing
No
happens.
cows.
But before you go get excited to try and learn this skill, I will warn you it doesn't work in newer versions. And I have a feeling if you tried it, it'd be a rude awakening even if you could get the timing down. By placing a piston underneath the end portal in a system like this, then yourself with a piston, that'll get the game to teleport you to the end, but not to where we normally spawn in the Obsidian platform. Rather, it just teleports you to the exact same coordinates of the overworld stronghold, which usually means that you completely skip the Ender Dragon fight if you do this. Although the Ender Dragon might not be the only thing that you're missing out on, since when you do this, you'll usually just spawn above the void. So make sure that you have some kind of Ender Pearl or slow falling potion to help yourself out here. Otherwise, you'll have successfully built a machine just to lose your stuff in the end. What fun that is. Normally, a pig spawner is something that we only ever see with creative mode commands and spawn eggs. But on some seeds, it's possible to generate this quintuple pig spawner setup. And there's no cheats involved, but there technically is a glitch. Since what happens here is that some other block overrides the NVT data of the spawner, and so it just defaults to the pig one. And then if you want to place down some well-lit grass blocks next to it, it actually does work, and you have a pretty solid pig farm.
How many more
Just
do you
nothing
want?
compared to a hoglin farm. With the help of a boat and a flowing water source places like this, we're able to drop ourselves completely through a sheet of bedrock. All we gotta do is place our boat right at the edge of the flowing water like so, and then jump in right before it exits frame. And honestly, this just feels so fun. Because where would be most useful is if you got trapped on top of the nether roof, but we can't place water over there. So you're really just stuck to use this in the overworld where it takes you to short death. If you were to get yourself crouching down underneath the trapdoor like this, with a piston and a bunch of slabs around you, then when we flip the lever, that'll push the slab inside of our
Victory.
collision box, we'll be able to see right through the 4 caves below us. And then if you have something like Optifine Soup or Spyglass to help you find the finer details, this could help you to keep track of everything that's beneath you in your world, whether that's your friend's secret base, or a dark patch that's given the hostile mobs a hiding place. Then our condition's broken. I mean, that's not news to anyone who's ever played it, and we've definitely showcased that on this channel. But I think this particular glitch using Rogue we're going to easily show how some of the oversights are. Now, if you start off in a plains biome and bone meal the ground, you get grass and flowers. Not much is expected. But then, when you bone meal some of that grass into tall grass, it doesn't always take the bone meal out of your inventory. And then, with a pair of shears, we can take that
I just
tall
remembered I
grass
can kill
and turn
horses
it
for
into more
leather.
bone meal and compost, essentially giving us infinite bone meal. If you also have infinite time to
Lots
get
of
it.
horses
If you're
on
playing something like
planes.
Skywalk, this could be particularly useful. Getting on top of the nether roof is a useful tool in Minecraft, at least for those of us on Java. Bedrock can't place anything, but in Java, we can put farms up here on the roof. So the question then is, how do we get up there? And really all it's going to take is finding yourself a little hole in the bedrock roof like this, where you can get up as high as possible, to a Y level of 124. And then by placing down ladders,
Alright,
whenever
this
yourself
guy's definitely
an ender
faster
pearl,
than
we can squeeze
sprinting.
our way up right to the top, and
You
then
know,
be able to throw
since
our
it's a
ender pearl
horse,
right through
I'm not the
solid
one
bedrock,
running
land on
and
top of the
therefore
roof. Just make sure that you
wasting
also brought some
stamina.
form of obsidian to help you out there. Like we mentioned, that bow trick from before, not going to be your saving grace this time. But where a bow can be more useful is here in the overworld. Since if you go into third person and then angle your camera just right, you'll notice that at the right angle, it's actually possible to see right through the water, and
Pillager
everything will be
outpost.
completely clear. No filters, no darkness, just a clean shot of what you're looking
Oh, there's
for.
another
And so if you try
nether
to scope out ocean woods to
thingy.
get yourself a sniffer egg, or maybe a pirate ship to find yourself some buried treasure, this is a trick worth using. I mean, you're already in the boat anyways. It seems pretty good. Now in this video, we've already shown off more than a few ways to break the mechanics of Bedrock. I phasing through it both up and down. But what if you just want to get rid of Bedrock entirely? And that's where a design like this one can come in handy. Now, as Salmon Up lays out
I
in this video,
apologize.
you just place 2 obsidian diagonally like so, and with a piston and 2
Profusely.
blocks of TNT, we can line ourselves underneath this trapdoor and place our piston just right in the corner, so that when the TNT blows up, we'll have successfully confused the game into thinking that the piston...
I'm not happy about this
You're
either.
doing this on another roof. Make sure that you're doing this in the spot where the bedrock roof's only 1 bedrock thick. Since after all, there's nothing lamer than breaking bedrock, only to check underneath and there's more bedrock there. Duplication glitches always seem to find themselves into Minecraft, and some of them are just so strange that there's really no reason to fix them. At least, no good reason. And for that, I'd say this tripwire hook duplication glitch is one of them. Now here, we're using the design the Eagle Eye 621 have shown off in the past, where we basically place the tripwire hook on top of an iron trap door, and then when it gives off a redstone signal, it breaks and gives us 2 when we should have just gotten 1. Well, before you think this is completely useless, I should point out that you can actually trade tripwire hooks for emeralds with villagers. And at that point, it's a lot easier to see the reason for building one of these. You might also raise some eyebrows from your friends as they're wondering what in the world this contraption could be. Much more useful of a duplication glitch comes in the form of carpet,
Yeah,
and no,
of course.
not exactly for decorating your house, although I'm not going to judge. But rather, we're going to be using this duplicated carpet as a means for fuel. Now, the idea here is pretty simple. We're using dead coral fans and slime blocks to duplicate our carpet, much in the same way that we've used it to duplicate TNT in the past. And then, when you automate this system with a redstone clock,
I think a
you
good
can have that machine
number
go back
of
and forth
backpacks
and
to
give
get
us a
would be
whole bunch of
4.
carpet to flow into your furnaces. I hope you like the smell of burnt wool. Villagers are stupid, and you probably know that by trying to get their AI to where that you want them to. But there's no greater showcase of that than this example from Green's Hermitcraft world. Since if you trade with a cured librarian to get glass blocks, then we can craft those into glass panes and then sell them to a cartographer villager for profit. And if you're wondering just how crazy this can get, Green literally traded up from 2 pumpkins to a full emerald beacon, which I think is more than enough as a proof of concept. With the help of a bucket of powdered snow, we're able to turn this grass block into a glitched grass block only found in older versions. Now, usually you can't see the top texture of a snowy grass block. It's covered by a snow layer, hence making it snowy. And if you break it off, it would usually become a grass block, but by placing powdered snow repeatedly on top of this grass block, then we can lag out the game in just a way, and we're left with this silver grass block. But unfortunately, we can't pick it up. Soak-Touch would just give you the grass block, and that's not exactly what we want. But if you want to show it off in your world, it definitely is cool. Did you know that shulkers aren't the only ones that are able to live in shulker shells? Sure enough, if we follow the lead of this Reddit post posted on the Glitches subreddit, then if we crawl into a tunnel and position ourselves on top of a shulker box, then when we open up that shulker box, we're supposed to phase through it, but with a block underneath it, we're just gonna get stuck inside. Which looks very cool in first person, but for anyone in third person, it would just look ridiculous. So maybe don't let your friends see you trying this one out. With the help of a punch-2 bow, we're gonna be able to shoot ourselves right into the sky, quite literally. Since while playing on Bedrock Edition, it's possible that if you turn off friendly fire, then shoot a bunch of arrows into the sky, then once they land on your friend, they're not taking any damage from it, but they are still getting knocked up into the sky, giving you one of the cheapest and perhaps the stupidest elevators you can find in Minecraft. If you were to update
Keep in mind the
1.17
reason
Super Flat World to
I'm
the
living a
recent
nomadic
versions,
life right now is
increased
because
world
I
level
want
boost to it
surface
glitch out.
tired.
which essentially allows us to build blocks
And I
underneath
refuse
the
to go
bedrock.
caving.
But jumping to this point has
Ooh,
never
there's
been
more
possible.
cows, but
We make sure we about things like
why did
shoulders
they
and
have to
bones
be
down
right next to the
That's
pillager
not building. This is.
outpost?
And it only takes one look at what Mog Swamp's been able to do with this with their ocean base to see that it's pretty cool. If not a little mind-bending to see something like this built under bedrock. Bedrock's bone meal isn't just broken for tall grass,
Yeah,
but
there's
it's
the
also broken
villagers.
for the flowers too. And here, all it
Forget
takes to build
about it.
yourself an AFK flower farm is just to hold down right-click with a whole bunch of bone meal on this flower. Since here, it'll only grow more of the flower that you wanted to grow, instead of a bunch of ugly grass and stuff mixing it up, which I'd say is pretty nice. But if you try this on 2 tall flowers, you're just gonna get more of those 2 tall flowers popping up. When chiseled bookshelves
can
are added
carry
in, they were
horses,
also
right?
added with a duplication glitch. And the way that this worked is that once a chiseled bookshelf was filled up with books, then if you held down right-click with a book of your choice, you could actually duplicate it. And since we could store our enchanted books inside of these bookshelves, that quickly became a way for us to get a whole bunch of mending, unbreaking free, you name it. And what's even more cursed is that this also allowed us to stack books into one item slot, which is something that historically we've been able to do with the grindstone and curse of mining books. I think this is a lot more useful in both cases. When you're looking for materials in Minecraft, you're gonna have to branch mine a couple times. And while that's fine,
It
doesn't
also
always feel
doesn't
like
help
the
that
fastest.
there's
But
no
lucky for
minimap
you,
or
there might be a way to
waypoint
fix that. The way that it works in
get
Minecraft,
system
you actually
in
mine
default
faster
Minecraft, so
when mining max
a
reach
nomadic
distance
lifestyle
instead
is
of
less
random books.
encouraged,
Taking that into consideration,
especially if you have a
maybe take
base
couple
that
steps
you
back
would
and save
rather
yourself some time. After all,
never
if you're
forget,
digging into
never
Scramble
forget the
for a
location
while,
of.
why not at least shave off some seconds where you can? And while I can't guarantee this will improve your luck finding diamonds, I can at least say it'll help you find out faster. This is one of the fastest ways to kill the wither, and you don't even need a sword to do it. That's right, by using just the bedrock in the end and some high explosion power fireworks, you can spam those underneath and kill the wither in just a matter of seconds. Just make sure to spawn it in like this so that it gets stuck inside the bedrock. Otherwise, this method won't be nearly as effective. But do it right, we'll get ourselves our nether star in 10 seconds flat, all without taking any damage ourselves. Opening a chest next to piglins is a dangerous gamble, and breaking it doesn't work either. So instead, place a hopper underneath the chest and then wait for all the items to pour out. See, the piglins don't care if you open the hopper, so you can enjoy all of the riches that will drip feed out of the chest. And then, after that chest is empty, why not trade all of the gold that you found inside back to the piglins?
Scrubland.
That way, they get to keep their gold, and we can stand their good side. In Bedrock Edition, it's possible to jump 6 blocks high without using any potion effects. Simply have your friend hold up a shield and then punch them repeatedly. Because if you have a wall behind you for support, you can use that knockback to launch yourself right up to the ceiling. And if you both have a shield on hand, you can each switch back and forth.
Ooh, look at that.
Climb up to build limit.
Is that a
Just make sure you
mountain?
don't
Please
punch them
tell
with
me
the
it's a
shields down,
mountain.
or this whole thing could fall apart, literally. Using waterlock leaves, we can see through walls. And here's how. If you're on bedrock, first dig a canal of water, fill it up with leaves, and then go beside them and till the soil with a hoe. And by doing this, we get exactly 1 pixel of window to see through the world. And it would seem that the reason this works is because the game doesn't render blocks that the player can't see. And since the water inside is supposed to be invisible from all sides, it's not actually rendering. Though it doesn't recognize that we tilled the soil next to it, so we do get a sneak peek through the glitch like so. I think every kid's wanted to be a spy at some point. I mean, why else would there be so many different spy items available at Book Fairs? Supply and demand, folks. So while I'm not saying you'll become a full James Bond in Minecraft, this might at least put you 1 step closer. Secret messages are a classic bit of spy technology, but even when you use the message command, that isn't always secure. So if that's the case, let's turn to invisible.
This horse only has 9 health. Yikes.
Now, laid out on the ground, these don't look like much, but give your friend a map, and now it's a hidden message. No matter where you go in the world, you got yourself a private messaging app, and better yet, server mods will be none the wiser. Stop building your cobblestone generators like this, or rather, build it like this. As you'll notice, by using a waterlogged stair instead of a water source block, you get a few benefits. Namely, you can't accidentally create
Yeah,
obsidian.
the frequent
since the water doesn't
I'm
flow
definitely
to the back
gonna,
of the stair.
at
And
least,
even
at
though
the
this
very
is
least,
a large
lower the
bug tracker, it's
amount
been
of
open for
times
years,
autosave
so I'm not that worried
activates.
about it getting patched soon.
I think that's the main reason
See, when
I
you
do.
waterlog
I get
something,
all
it
this
changes the
lagging.
properties of a water source block, meaning that just by pouring a water bucket on your chest,
The
that
intervals
sucker isn't gonna
definitely
explode
line
anytime
up.
soon. I see that as a small
I
price to
believe
pay
I have
for
it set to
indestructible
24
chests. This is a lot
minutes.
easier to clean up. Before you visit the deep dark, you probably want to brew up a slow falling potion. As Simply Sark points out, chugging one of these can help us get around the scope shriekers and sensors without setting them off. I mean, you could fall from any height and land on a block next to it, and
I've been recording for 2 hours now, and I need to go to bed early.
Making this indispensable to have. Or give slow fall into the mobs that you're trying to pull.
But I want to confirm if that's a mountain over there with iron before I go.
Damage when you reach your destination. By this point, we've talked about making a bubble elevator using kelp, which is helpful, but it requires a couple of different items. So instead, let's get the job done ice. With this, all we have to do is pillar up ice above a soul sand block, and then mine it with a non-silk touch pickaxe on the way back down. Then when we reach the bottom, all of them will be water source blocks, and we can fly right back up to the top, keeping our elevators fast and helping us build them about as quickly. Instead of using 6 planks to craft a shield, why not use 5 and craft yourself a bow? Now, as crazy as it seems, a bow can actually be very useful for defense. Like in this situation, where if we were to fight the Enderman by ourselves, we probably wouldn't fare too well. But if we place it in a boat beforehand, then as soon as we start attacking it, it won't even teleport away. And it can't hit us. I mean, the boat is so strong that if you were to put an exploding creeper in your backseat and row the boat, you'll barely take any damage when it explodes. And as much as I love shields, you can't exactly say the same for them. So if you already craft one of these to get across the 7 seas, it's worth keeping in your hotbar to get you out of a sticky situation. Honey blocks are great for redstone traps, and traps without redstone. Let me explain. With the honey block's unique properties, if any mob stands on top of it, they can't easily jump over. Which means that if we were to put a mob or a villager inside of a composter or a cauldron with a honey block underneath, they're not able to jump out. And just like that, we found the sticky situation that'll keep your villagers inside of the trading hall. And to go one step further, add an extra ring of honey blocks around them, and then any baby zombies can't jump in to try to kill the mob as well. That way we make sure we keep the mob safe and sound, all while they stay put. This trick will help you find buried treasure every single time. Because instead of trying to guess where the X means on the map, if you instead line yourself up and then use the F3 debug screen to move to where the chunk info line has a 9 in the first and third spots, then if you dig straight down, you'll be right on top of the chest, which is particularly useful if the chest happens to spawn out in the water next to the shoreline, because digging around aimlessly is already a time waster. We don't need to make that any worse by having to dig slower underwater. If you've ever tried to get a skeleton to hit a creeper, you know it's not an easy task, but it's a necessary one if we want to fill out our music disc collection, so we'll have to get creative. And luckily, this user has the right idea. See, Minecraft counts assists the same way that it does kills. Meaning, if we have a skeleton shoot a piece of TNT, ignite it, and then that kills the creeper, we'll get the music disc the same way. Simple as that. If you have only 3 dirt blocks, you're rich. Or at least, richer than you might think. Since if you have 3 dirt blocks, it's actually possible to trade that up to an emerald. Now, the way that we do this in 1.19 is that we turn our dirt into mud, using a water bottle, and then dry it out on a dripstone rack like such to get ourselves our very own clay blocks. Which, if we then break, we can trade with the stonemason to get ourselves an emerald. It's not exactly the fastest trade, but it's definitely possible. And this proves that even when you're dirt poor, you're still not as poor as you think you are. While the Swift Sneak enchantment is meant to help out down in the ancient cities, it can also be useful above ground for when you're trying to speed bridge. And looking at this comparison between no Swift Sneak and Swift Sneak 3, you can really see that there's a massive difference. And honestly, I'm just glad that there's a method now to speed bridge without ever learning how to speed bridge. Because if you're like me, I could never get down the timing. Looting is one of the quintessential enchantments in Minecraft, which means it's a bummer when it's only limited to swords. Or so you'd think. You see, if you chuck your looting 3 sword to your offhand slot, then you can use something like a bow and still have the enchantment applied. And from where I'm standing, that's all upsides, folks. Not only do you save from damaging your prized weapon, but you also gain a bunch of range. Sure, you still do have to walk in close to collect the items, but look at the alternative. If you're asking if I'd rather walk up to a creeper and fight it, or just pick up a pile of gunpowder, I think the choice is clear. Let's say you built a path up to your base using gravel, but later on you decided that andesite would actually work better for the build. So how do you replace it? Do you go through that whole path, removing every piece of gravel, and then place andesite into the empty holes? Because if you're doing that, you're wasting time. Rather, what you should be doing is if you have an Insta-Mine tool, and then the block you want to replace in your offhand, every time that you hit left click and right click at the same time on a block, you're able to instantly replace it with the block that you want to use, helping you clean up those mistakes without any extra headache. Starting a farm is often a big undertaking, so whether you got that potato from a zombie drop, or it's the only one you have left over from a village trip, the fact still stands that you're going to need a lot more of those things to get the farm going. So to help out on that Fortune 3 tool that you've got in your hotbar isn't just good for lapis and diamonds. No, it can actually increase your crop yield as well. Sure, just how much that increases averages out to just be about 1 more per block. Folks, as you grow to a big farm, that can add up really fast, giving you more spuds to plant and more to Fortune 3 down the road. Let's face it, minecarts aren't very fast, which is a shame because roller coasters are a ton of fun. So instead of a normal railway, place your rails like this for an extra speed buff. Now, it might look silly, and the travel animation is definitely unique to say the least, but the speed boost that we can achieve more than makes up for it. You don't even need power rails to do it. And honestly, the slowest part of the process might just be figuring out how to build weird circles, but trust me, it'll pay off. Instead of using boats, why not use dolphins? Crazy as it sounds, if you get a dolphin into a lead, you can enjoy the dolphin's grace buff for however long your journey is. And to get even more out of this trick, try wearing some Death Strata 3 boots to give you that extra speed right across the 7 seas. Because with just those two
Where are you
things, you can
going?
start to travel over 6 blocks per second. Just like that, you travel 2 chunks every second that passes by. Nobody likes waiting. Whether it's waiting in line, waiting for files to download, or a video to buffer, nobody likes their time wasted. Which largely makes nether portals a pain to deal with. In survival mode, not only do you have to wait for the whole sickness animation to play out, but then you've also got to let an entire other dimension load on the other side. It's not exactly speedy, to say the least. But if you got some items, you may be able to cut that down. You see, by using nether portal chunk loading, all it takes is throwing an item to the other side, and then all of a sudden, it'll do all of the loading for you. So, going forward, maybe take the time to hit the Q key. Might just save you some down the road. If you're having trouble finding the dead coral
Just
for a
one more
TNT
backpack
duplication
would be
machine,
very
don't
nice.
sweat it. Just use glass. No joke, even though it's a less popular way of performing this glitch, all it takes is a set of using observers to make an equally effective TNT duplication machine. And you might find this could be even more effective on a Skyblock world, where coral isn't exactly close by. And in any case, it's just nice to be able to build one of these without having to need Silk Touch right away. If you want to be a pro at Minecraft, then you gotta be able to MLG clutch. But if your reaction time's like mine, then that's disconcerting. It's just not gonna happen. So a simpler option for us slowpokes is to use Core's Fruit instead. Strangely enough, the random teleport feature is actually predictable, or at least predictable enough for us to use. The way it works, it will always teleport you to solid ground. So if you're in midair off of Shulker's levitation effect, then you can just chomp on one of these and be teleported right back to safety. And look, I'm not gonna lie, it maybe doesn't look as cool as a water bucket save, but being able to survive a deadly fall, I think that's good enough for me. Looting desert temples is a fun pastime for sure. What if you're trying to get the valuables without wasting your precious time? Well, that's where this method comes in. See, while most of us would just spend the seconds to individually loot each and every one of these chests, this user's method is a lot more straightforward. And instead, we use the TNT from the trap below to blow up the chamber and the chest with it. And while that sounds dangerous, it's worth noting that by standing in the pit down here, we'll survive with barely a scratch sustained. And afterwards, we'll not only have all that treasure in our inventory, but a ton of blocks to build our way out as well. Who doesn't love roller coasters? No one I want to hang around with, that's for sure. And it's because of this mutual love of roller coasters that I'm sure we've all tried to set up a throw ride once or twice. But the real test is what your friends think. Though it's pretty boring to just set them off and wait till they get back. So, to make that journey a bit more inclusive, why not upgrade your ride? You see, since minecarts can pick up entities, and boats happen to be entities, you can essentially make a two-person cedar minecart to ride the rails. So, not only do you get a goofy ride to go around in, but you can also build up some surprising propulsion by rowing the boat, which I think we all can agree are pretty great things. If you've only got yourself one bucket of water, but you still need an infinite water source, just wait for nighttime, since if you kill a skeleton and get some bone meal, you can use that to create seagrass, which if you grow seagrass inside of flowing water, it'll turn that to a full water source block. So whether you're playing in a desert on a skyblock island, or you just don't want to craft another bucket, a bit of bone meal will solve your problem just the same.
Say how absurd it is that I
the
still
channeling enchantment's pretty great. For one, not only is
am
it
having
fun to summon
iron
lightning
problems,
like your last name is Odinson, but that
even
very
though I've been
lightning
playing
allows you to
game,
change and
even though I've been
manipulate
playing this
different
world
mobs.
for
So when you're fed up with typical
nearly
mushrooms
4
and you're looking
hours
for a
now.
change, well, bam, it's great, but obviously all that lightning can get pretty dangerous. So if you're trying to do your magic without all the pain of electrocution, maybe try this. You see, by placing down an item frame, all you have to do is zap that, and the job gets done the same way. Except this time, no one's getting hurt in the process. Which is nice, because really, there's no point in converting a corpse. Endermen aren't always the easiest to kill. And while the teleporting might be fine in a desert or a plains
I'm gonna
biome,
end things
fighting
here.
them in the end, the last thing you want is to sneak attacked. So, to cut their magic show short, all we need is 5 planks and a plan. After we craft a boat, all we need to do is place that right down next to an enderman, and that sucker will be locked right into place. No joke, as long as you don't break the boat, you're free to slice, dice, and slay the foe with no hassle to you. I mean, they do still have pretty massive arms, so I wouldn't recommend getting too close to the bash zone, but as long as you keep you and your axe out of harm's way, then I think you'll find this works pretty well. The new nether step blocks are a great addition, except for when you're trying to smelt something. Unlike regular logs, these can't be used as fuel in a furnace. They don't burn to a flint and steel, so why should a furnace be any different? But this intentional piece of game design might just have an unintentional workaround. If If instead you take those logs out of the furnace and into a crafting grid, then we can craft them into sticks, which by themselves would work as a fuel source, but we can actually do one better. Folks, by crafting those very sticks and the ladders, now we're actually getting the best bang for our buck when it comes to smelting, which I've got to say is a big improvement when the alternative is not smelting anything at all. Redstone is one of my favorite parts of Minecraft, but circuitry isn't exactly a looker. Now, that doesn't discount its personality. I'm sure what's on the inside counts, but to our builder friends, it's all about outward appearances. So, in that case, how about we find ourselves a happy middle ground? I wasn't aware of this until recently, but you can actually throw down item frames atop of redstone dust. Meaning, if you add in a color map of your choice, then you can effectively cover up your tracks. Now, obviously, if you're using a bunch of these item frame and map combos, I do have to warn of some potential lag. But if you got yourself a beefy computer, then I'd be hard-pressed to say this isn't worth a shot. Anvil costs can get annoying pretty fast. I mean, all it takes is a few enchanted books in the wrong order, and bam, it's too expensive to use. And this can get remarkably frustrating when you go to repair something. So before you find yourself in that hassle, maybe try this. Apparently, by just renaming the tool every time you go to repair, it's enough to stop the repair cost from jacking up each time. At that point, the game treats it as a simple name change operation and forgets the rest. Just some minor change like adding a space or a number to the end is good enough. It does not need to be fancy, trust me. Or if you're not a fan of loud noises,